Good morning. It is Monday, July 26, 2021. Welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. This morning, Joe Young is with us. He's an award-winning artist, writer, and producer, and the creator of the KEMET comic property. Joe is also a Guinness World Record holder for creating the world's longest comic strip and a Daily Point of Light recipient from the White House. We'll talk with Joe Young this morning. But first, of course, let us bring on the National Newspaper Publishers Association's president and CEO, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacy. And on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, and 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies all over America, we greet you on this Monday morning. Yes, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, at the National Convention of the National Real Estate Brokers, NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. The Black Realtors from all over the United States are here in Cleveland. They are practicing the COVID-19 protocols, so everyone has on masks. They're socially distanced because in these trying times, it's very difficult to have a national convention. So they figured out a way how to do it in terms of making sure that everybody's safe. So we have a strategic alliance between the NNPA and NAREB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, talking about housing, ownership, Black ownership of homes, and reversing the gentrification that's going on in so many of our communities across the United States. So I'm glad to be with you this morning. I know you're going over the headlines.
Not yet.
Okay, let's get right into it. Okay,
let's get to the headlines. Dr. Chavis, we start with some sad news. Bob Moses, the soft-spoken pioneer of the civil rights movement who faced relentless intimidation and brutal violence to register Black voters in Mississippi in the 1960s, and who later started a national organization devoted to teaching math as a means to a more equal society, has died. He died at his home in Hollywood, Florida at the age of 86. Bob Moses cut a decidedly different image from other prominent Black figures in the 1960s, especially those who sought change by working with the country's white political establishment. Typically dressed in denim overalls and seemingly more comfortable around sharecroppers than senators, he insisted that he was an organizer and not a leader. He said he drew inspiration from an older generation of civil rights organizers like Ella Baker, a leader of the SCLC. Dr. Chavis, I know you knew Bob Moses well. Your thoughts on the legendary civil rights leader?
Well, first, on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, we extend our sincere condolences to the family, to the Moses family. And we say, may Bob Moses rest in power, may he rest in peace. And certainly, as one of the organizers and founders and leaders of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which was actually co-founded by Ella Baker. Ella Baker worked with not only SCLC, the NAACP, but she helped inspire SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which Bob Moses, when he went to Mississippi to be a young student organizer, he was going under the auspices of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And of course, SNCC issued its own statement of condolences. And certainly, Bob Moses was a giant. Bob Moses was a courageous freedom fighter in the Delta of Mississippi, in the heart of Mississippi, fighting white supremacy, trying to get our people to register to vote. In the 1960s, which a lot of people were murdered, as you know. Medgar Evers and others were murdered. Channing Goodman and others were murdered in Mississippi. Emmett Till was murdered in Mississippi. So a lot went down in Mississippi in the 1950s, 1960s to try to prevent Black people from progressing, try to prevent us from getting the vote. And look at today. In 2021, Stacey, we still have this effort by white supremacists to deny us the right to vote. Even in 2021 in Georgia, in Florida, in Texas, of all places, and across the country, state legislatures are now introducing bills to suppress voting, particularly to suppress the black vote. So we honor and salute the legacy of Bob Moses. He also, interestingly, as you may note, Stacey, the Algebra Project. Bob believed that if he taught young people math, particularly algebra and calculus, at a very early age, you give them a better chance at life. And he was very successful with the Algebra Project in Mississippi.
Yes, he was. He was successful in so many things. A quiet person, and a quiet but strong person and leader. And Dr. Chavis, also in the news, this is certainly one to watch. Keep an eye on this. Police officers in Caledonia, Wisconsin, were apparently caught on tape planting what appears to be drugs in the backseat of an African-American motorist. Let's look at how it went down and then see the response from the police chief.
Hey, bro, what's that?
What's what?
That you just threw in here.
What word?
I got you on camera, bro.
I got you on camera. We're all good.
Hey, bro, you just threw that in here.
Yeah.
As we saw, he do a baggie. We don't yet really know what it contained, but the young man in the car was filming, and that officer did not know he was filming.
Great. Well, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to South, we have found police officers on videotape planting drugs, planting illegal substances so that they can arrest the occupant of the cars. This is, again, this is just not police misconduct. This is terrible that anything like that could still be happening in the United States of America. Thank God the brother had a videotape of it. Now we'll see what the police, we always ask the question, Stacey, can the police police themselves? And many African-American leaders in the law enforcement say no.
Yeah, and this is what Police Chief Christopher Bosch said. He says, please keep in mind that the cell phone video that is circulating depicts only a small portion of the entire encounter, whereas all available video may provide more context. The Caledonia Police Department believes strongly in transparency. Therefore, all body-worn camera video will be made available within the coming days. So obviously, we'll continue to keep an eye on this, and you can read more about this and all the stories we're talking about this morning, including the death of Bob Moses, on Black Press USA and most of our member newspapers across the country. Dr. Che was also in the news. They were the 6888, the 6888 Postal Directory Battalion, and the only all-black and all-female group to serve overseas in World War II. The battalion served at home and in Europe, where they sorted and routed important mail for millions of American service members and civilians. Like most African-American war heroes, the 6888 never received proper recognition. But U.S. Senator Jerry Moran, a Republican out of Kansas, has introduced legislation to award the Congressional Gold Medal to the Women's Army Corps members. U.S. Rep. Gwen Moore also joined in that legislation on the House side and introduced a companion bill. She says that these brave women in their service to our country deserve a special spot in history. Let us not forget the incredible dedication of these women. She says that they deserve this congressional honor. Of the original 855 members of the 6888, just 7 of them remain alive. So Congress continues to try and is still working to honor them properly.
Absolutely. These dedicated, brave women, African-American women, served the United States. You know, Stacey, African-Americans have fought in all of the wars. from the Revolutionary War in the 1700s against the British, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. I mean, we fought in all of the wars. And yet, Black people have shown from the beginning of this country, not only their patriotism, but their devotion to the country. Yet, we still have white supremacy. Yet, we still have voter suppression. Yet, we still have denial of economic opportunity so that we can build wealth in our communities. So it's an ongoing struggle. And that's why the Black press is so important. We thank the members of Congress, and in this case, both Republican and Democrat, who are going to honor these dedicated women. So thank God that some are still alive so they can get their roses while they're alive and not just a memorial after they passed away.
Yeah, and finally in the news headlines, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, for every 100,000 births before the pandemic, 37 Black women died while pregnant or within 6 weeks of pregnancy in the United States. The pandemic.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Say that statistic again, Stacey.
Yes, sure. For every 100,000 births before the pandemic, 37 Black women died while pregnant or within 6 weeks of pregnancy in the United States. It is, like you said, Dr. Chavis, a horrible statistic and a horrible reality. U.S. Rep. Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, the Democrat from Massachusetts, and Senator Tammy Duckworth out of Illinois have introduced a bill that would aid those mourning the loss of a pregnancy or the death of a woman giving birth. The Support Through Loss Act would help those experience the loss of a pregnancy or other challenges by increasing access to workforce support, access to resources, and patient-centered care. It would establish new paid leave benefits and direct the Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC to develop and disseminate public information regarding pregnancy loss. Anyone experiencing such loss, Dr. Chavis, would automatically qualify for paid leave, which, when you think about it, why isn't that in place already?
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of things in terms of public health. Even before COVID hit this world pandemic and hit the United States, we had these pre-existing conditions in Black America. This is another one. A lot of our sisters do not get proper prenatal care. And now in the context of COVID, things are even worse. So we definitely support Congressman Pressley from Massachusetts and Senator Duckworth. I hope this legislation gets passed, and we hope that both sides, I hope this doesn't get into the partisan bickering over things that save people's lives. All Americans should support this legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you can read about all of this at blackpressusa.com and most of our member, if not all of our member newspapers across the country. Dr. Chavis, we want to say good morning to all those who are watching across the spectrum, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else, including Annie Herbin. Welcome to the program. Wallace Claddy, I believe is how he says his name.
Yes.
Khalid McKinley, David Murphy, and so many. Lauren McKinley want to say good morning to you and say good morning to our special guest this morning, producer Joe Young, the award-winning artist, writer, and producer. Good morning, Joe Young.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Good morning, Brother Young, and we salute you, man. You creative genius. And
Brother,
we really support your work, man, and I hope that young people be inspired to by the path and the doors that you've opened in the creative arts.
Brother Chavis, this is an honor for me. Brother, you don't remember, but in 1995, I was up near the stage. I was a young cartoonist, and this man who I've been following for years took time to speak to me, and that was you.
Well, thank you, brother. Yes, sir. That was at the Million Man March, October the 16th, 1995.
Yes, sir. I was there with you in the back before you went up on stage, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Joe, you've accomplished so much, but now you're working on a very special project, the KEMET series. Tell us about that.
Well, KEMET is a is probably the greatest character I've created. He's a 10-year-old kid. He's about social justice. He's born in 1771 and 1776. He's in Africa, and the slave catchers catch him. He goes through the Middle Passage. He's sold off, and he's a runaway slave. He meets Benjamin Banneker, and he gets in his time machine, and he goes to the 21st century. In the 21st century, when Black folks are going through things, they don't know about Black excellence, he brings them back in time, and he meets some of these well-known and unknown heroes, and it inspires him. So he's rebellious. He puts others before himself. He gets into good trouble, like John Lewis said. So he's kind of like Dr. Chavis in 1971.
All right. Oh, yes, the Wilmington 10, yes. But, I think that's going to be so inspirational, particularly for our young brothers and sisters, Generation Z. They're very data savvy. They're connected to the internet. But as you know, Brother Young, we need more positive images out there for our young people to aspire to. And to be very honest, when I was in grade school, elementary school, it helped me to read better. I started reading comics avidly. And where I was from in Oxford, you only could see comics once a week in the Sunday newspaper. And I would always read the headlines newspaper, but I would read those comics back and forth.
Oh yeah, comics. That's where I got it with comic books. What's cool about the KEMET character in my studio in Hartford, we have young people working on the activity sheets. So they're learning, and they're also learning to put things together, working along with my team. So I'm excited about it. The comic has a monthly readership of over 1 million, and we're going to expand that. So it's just great. And we have books coming out, and there's an animated short film that you can see with the character called Race.
Great. Brother Young, tell us about your distribution model. We represent the Black Press of America, and we're trying to get more content distributed to particularly intergenerational. And I just think that some of our publishers are listening, are going to figure out, maybe we should have comic strips in our newspapers. We have 230 African-American owned newspapers, and we need more young people to be reading our press, both in print and also digital.
Well, I think it could be a good marriage, because some of your papers carry it, but love to get it through the newswire. And a lot of times people pick up newspapers, or they go to sites because of the comics. Would love to have it distributed through your amazing wire. Years ago, I did editorial and political cartoons for the newswire. And so I'd love to start doing that again, and really
absolutely
doing my part to work with you, because you give voice for Black folks that's uncompromised, and I want to be part of that.
Thank you. So Stacey, we're breaking news this morning. The Black Press of America, we're transacting and breaking news on behalf of the Black Press of America. Brother Young, thank you so much. And listen, man, words cannot express our profound gratitude for what you're doing. This is so important. And, offline, I want to talk to you also about making sure that your superheroes that you're creating also get into space. Because one of the things I'm concerned about now, I'm writing an editorial right now from civil rights to space rights. And I want to make sure that we don't get left out of the proposition of intergalactic and interplanetary freedom, justice, and equality. I want to make sure that we have equity as now, because when you see these 3 billionaires go up into space, it's not just because they're stroking their ego. They're creating a $1 trillion market. There's so many minerals, so many things in space that's going to change what happens on Earth. It's going to be in the future determined by what happens in the heavens.
Hey, I'm with it. I got ideas coming already, because we got to do better. Because years ago there was a cartoon called The Jetsons, and they didn't have black folks in the future.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely right.
That's so true.
So we
That's
got to
right.
get that old cartoon wrong.
Joe, tell us a little. It's so much to talk about. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but briefly, tell us how you got started.
Man, I since 7 years old, man, I love to create. I was a writer. I did my first play at 7 called John Lee, and it was always, I didn't know I was doing social justice or inspirational work. I just wanted to show the underdog win. So I did my first play at 7. Later on, when I got in college, I discovered I can draw, and I combined the writing with the drawing, and I came out with a comic strip called Scruples. Now, a comic strip is no more than a visual paper, a play on paper. It has characters, sounds, themes. And so I married the two, man, and the rest is history, man. That's how I got into it.
Yeah, and we can, everybody, we can point you to see more about KEMET at KEMETcomic.com, www.KEMETcomic.com. Joe, you have something coming up with the great legendary Smokey Robinson. Tell us a bit about that.
Man, I mean, this is, man, it doesn't get better than this, man. Working with the NMPA, meeting Dr. Chavis, man, and my dream came true to work with Smokey Robinson, legendary singer. He's really a genius, and he wrote an amazing poem called Black American, and we're animating that myself. With my team in Connecticut, as well as we have our animation team in Phoenix. And then after that, we're going to work on a half-hour pilot. It's kind of like Lean On Me meets Fame, starring Smokey Robinson. So all that's in the works. So we can maybe come on the show, man, and break that Black American cartoon on NMPA, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Exclusive content.
Yes,
exactly.
We certainly would love to have that, Joe. No question. And Joe's brought out all of the comic buffs. Everyone's typing in. Dr. Chavis, Rhonda Leonard says yes. Bring back the comics. Robinia McKinley says this is great. This is what our youth need. Mark Thompson, Herschel Walker has checked in.
Herschel Walker. Now, this is Herschel Walker out of Niagara Falls.
Right.
All right.
Youngest Woods has checked in. Kelly Dobbins has checked in. They all checking in for you, Joe. So listen, so many times, and you've won. You're in the Guinness World Record. You got an award from the White House. So many times. Folks dream, they and then they get disappointed. What keeps you going, Joe? I know there had to have been some not necessarily missteps, but some disappointment along the way before you achieve success.
Oh, there were a lot of disappointment. My success, if I have any, is based on those things, what we call failure, but I call them teachable moments. What I have going for me is I found my purpose. I love to create characters with messages. So I don't really fail because I'm doing what I love, and I strive for excellence. And when you strive for excellence, the rest takes care of itself. You're not doing it for money. You're not doing it for fame. I always think about this great quote that says, if you run after success, success runs away. But if you run after excellence, success runs towards you. And so, finding what you love, man, gets you through anything. And you have to surround yourself with great people. And I know the folks at NMPA have a lot of great people. In my studio, we have people, great people. You have Robinia McKinley, who we call Spitfire, man. She's there. And, she's got a book called The Weaver Birds coming out. She's 72, and she's just doing the doggone thing, man. And just surround yourself with people like that. Whether they're younger, older, but there's one criteria. They got to have that positive energy coming from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joe, I got involved with hip hop when it first started emerging. A lot of people in my generation didn't understand the lyrics or the graffiti or the breakdance or even, the content of the rhythm of the music. But, I think the most fundamental right is the right to express yourself. And I think that what you have done and what you are doing, Joe, is so encouraging. Listen, man, I can see Kermit recruiting a whole army of freedom fighters around the world, around the diaspora. So look, man, I'm gonna have some offline talks with you, brother. It's good to see you. I'm still thank you on the program, but this is sort of a reunion.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we follow through, Stacy. And I also like to have brother on the Chavez Chronicles, so we reach 90 million households, and so you can tell this story, man. This is a living, vibrant, creative genius story that I want millions of people around the world to hear.
I appreciate it. You know, when you do something, Dr. Chavez, it happens. So this is just a blessing today to be here with you and Stacy, man. You just don't know, but you know, God is good, man.
That's right, all the time. God is good.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being able to join us this morning, Joe. Joe, you know, you and Dr. Chavez have been talking about comics and space, and you brought out a great point that I never really thought about with the Jetsons. But what else, Joe, do you have for young African Americans in particular? Because there is so much, as Dr. Chavez always says, disinformation. There's so much, discouragement out there for them. We talked earlier in the news segment about police planting evidence on Black people.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So what message can you give to young Black Americans this morning, using perhaps your comic strip to give that message?
Man, just read up on our history, man. Know from where we come, man. And of course, I'm here, you know, with what we're doing. If you're interested in working on a KEMET comic, or you want to highlight someone, I don't know, you might want to highlight Prince Whipple from the American Revolution. Anybody, participate in that, and just believe in yourself, and don't give up, and don't give up.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Chavez, I'm going to give you your closing thoughts with Joe Young.
Well, listen, I'm just so inspired and renewed in terms of self-determination listening to Joe Young. God blesses. We are blessed people, as Joe has talked about. If we really knew our true history, I'm talking about our global history, not just our American history. We have scaled and championed every discipline, every academic discipline. We've had outstanding excellence. But unfortunately, we don't know about it. They don't teach us our true history in the schools. That's why we need the Black press. And that's why we need not only comic strips, but we need the creative vision and genius of people like Brother Joe Young. So, man, thank you so much. And like I say, man, you're going to hear from us in a few minutes after this program.
and Joe, behind you, I guess is I see KEMET. I think Joe has frozen up, but this is just the tip of the iceberg this week. We are so glad to have Joe Young. Tomorrow we're going to have Portia Johnson, who's the founder of the Black Girl Health and Associates. You don't want to miss that, because a lot of great information for Black women in particular to join us later this week. You know who's going to join us? A very, very special guest, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. So stay tuned to let it be known. Joe, we really appreciate you and all who tuned in this morning. Hey, feel free to share this important broadcast, because Joe really has brought a lot of inspiration here this morning. So share it. Share the Facebook or YouTube page that you might be watching, or Twitter. Do that so that more people can know more about Mighty Joe Young.
Can I make one last comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
My greatest work is I'm the vice chair of the board of trustees for the University of Bridgeport, and man, we're trying to get as many kids of color in there. Some who haven't done stuff academically well, but they need to come to the University of Bridgeport, man, because we're trying to get a lot of young people of color in.
Is there a website or
You go
contact?
to University of Bridgeport. A lot of kids who couldn't get in with traditional grades are getting in. And that's one of the reasons I got on the board of trustees, to bring some young kids who are having trouble to get into college in a major university in Connecticut.
Great.
Joe is doing it all, Dr. Chavis. He's doing it all.
God is good. God is good.
Well, let it
We
be
salute
known.
you, good brother.
Absolutely. And let it be known, everyone. Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. We will see you tomorrow.